So sitemaps tell search engines about all of your pages and the structure of your site. I'll show you a couple examples. Sitemaps are written in XML, and they are stored on your website, and they tell Google, Yahoo, and Bing what pages are on your site, what's the path to certain pages once they're crawling it. So for our book website, this is the path to our sitemap. Now this is not something that you would find if you were Googling our site. Google does not show XML files in its records, but it's something it knows it's there in order to understand how your website is structured. So this is the actual sitemap for my site. You can see it in there under the address, that SEO manifesto sitemap.xml. If you type that on your own computer at home, you would see this as well. And it lists every page that's on my website, when it was updated, how frequently it was updated, and the priority. The most important thing is really the list of all the folders that's in there. So it's very simple. We have a small website, and those are all the pages, and it lets Google know what pages are out there. Now, you say, does everybody do sitemaps? Well, not necessarily. Some of the bigger sites don't because they're very complex and be a huge file. But Google, surprisingly enough, has a sitemap of their site. So it's going to take this a second to open. This is still the SEO manifesto in front of you, but we'll wait while the Google one opens. And I have a very fast computer, and you can see how slow this is taking, which gives you a little bit of an idea of how big this file is. Okay, so every single Google page they've stored on their sitemap, and they leave it out there so they can crawl their own site and index their own site. So if you can see here, I'm going to scroll down, and if you look over on the right-hand side of my scroll bar, you can see that the scroll bar is barely moving. So this is a huge site. Google has thousands and thousands of pages. This just goes on forever. So you can see where they're using this tool themselves. If they're using it, then obviously they feel it's an important way to structure and organize their site. So if you didn't think it was important before, knowing Google uses it makes me feel like it is a very important attribute of a website. So to create these sitemaps, what you just saw, these are services that may be provided by your hosting company. So it may be something as simple as checking off a box on your control panel to submit sitemaps, but that's not the case for all hosting companies. Some companies will charge a fee. I know there's a number of companies that charge $10 a month to go out and create your sitemap and send it to the search engines. But we're going to talk about how to create it for free yourself. Now these links that you see here are in our appendix, both in the book and on our online appendix. If you have access to our book, then within there is the password in order to access our electronic appendix, where we constantly update all of our resources that we talk about in the book. So these are the 3 free sitemap creators that we have on our appendix. Everything that we have free, we don't get paid for. These aren't affiliate links. These are just free sites that we researched that work for the purposes that we discussed. So this is one, sitemap.doc. I'll do SEO manifesto, so you can see how I created that. So what that does is, again, identify all the files on my website, and then it asks me if I want to create an XML sitemap, which it does. This particular site wants me to copy this into Notepad and then save it as sitemap.xml. So this is a great tool. It's free, and it creates the sitemap. It's good to have a number of different options, because you never know when these guys will be charging tomorrow. So we constantly update our resource list. So let me show you one of the other options. There are some of them a little bit different. Sitemap submit. This is another one. I'll do, let's see, Cape Cod Carpentry with this one. For large sites, Pam and I both have some very large sites, and take a long time to create the sitemap. So this is a good example of one that didn't necessarily work perfectly, because this sitemap creator went out and grabbed some of the images off my son's site and wanted to tell Google if they were pages, but it allows you to uncheck. So no, I don't want that picture of a deck to be one of my pages, so I'm just going to check off. I'm going to uncheck anything that's an image and just focus on actual site pages. Then I can download the sitemap. Again, saves it as sitemap.xml. This one you don't have to copy into Notepad, so this one is a little bit better and allows you to save it directly as sitemap.xml to your desktop, and that way you can upload it to your site. And the last one, xmlsitemaps.com. Very similar. This one has another different flavor. I'll do SEO traininggroup.com for this one. This one you can tell it how often you update it. If it's something that has a lot of dynamic web pages, you would say hourly. If you really don't touch it that often, you can say yearly or never, or if you're updating it relatively frequently, like with blogging and things like that, you could say daily or weekly. You can tell them when the last time you modified it, or you could let the server set it. You can set a priority for different pages, or you can automate that. So you get to create a few more settings. So this site created the sitemap and then allows me to download it. Again, will allow me to verify that it exists. So this one, I'm pretty sure I have a sitemap on the site, so I could go here to click it. And again, it brings me right to my sitemap, showing that it does exist up on my sitemap. So this is kind of a one-stop shop. And then they're also pointing me right to the Google Webmaster account where I would submit this, which is going to be our next step. So those are 3 different free tools out there in the appendix that you can look at. Again, this is a reminder. This gets uploaded to your root folder just like the Google verification files and Yahoo and Bing verification.